Thank you very much, Osman, and really pleasure to be with you today. And my apologies for not being in the room with this great team of scientists. As Joachim said, this was done in collaboration with Joachim, and I wish I was with you in person. So the least I could do is to wake up in the middle of the night to be with you. So I'm really very delighted to be part of this whole meeting and to be particularly in this session on innovation for solution in food. I hope you can see my slide.
Yes, we can. Ismahane, I don't think you can see the timer here. When you have 1 minute left, I will then warn you. Is that okay?
That would be great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So most probably I missed the session before, but I want to just show you the slide that talks that at the midway point towards 2030, many of these SDGs are moderately to severely off track, and put forward 5 major recommendations to rescue the Sustainable Development Goal and accelerate implementation between now and 2030. A preliminary assessment of the roughly 140 targets with data show only about 12% are on track. Close to half those showing progress are moderately or severely off track, and some 30% have either seen no movement at all or regressed below the 2015 baseline. And the latest report, our report shows again that particularly for SDG 2, which is really the most important SDG for FAO, on the goal to end hunger, the projection is that 670 million may still be hungry by 2030. As FAO, again, as I said in the SOFI report, right now we have about 821 million, and I'm sure maybe Maximo, my colleague, yesterday have given those numbers. So right now I am in the AIM4C, which is Agriculture Innovation Mission for Climate here in Washington. And the idea of combining adaptation to climate change, mitigation of climate change with the agriculture sector, and making sure that the agriculture sector produces enough for everybody while reducing its footprint and reducing the impact on climate at large is really at the core of everything we have been talking. At COP27, countries reaffirm again their commitment for limiting the global warming at 0.55 above pre-industrial levels. However, the world is currently, of course, again, to keep the 1.5. And maybe Maximo has mentioned our work to really put forward a roadmap to how could we keep it at 1.5. And as the chief scientist, what I am really pushing for is that agriculture sequestration capacity, it's much larger. And we could eventually use more science technology to sequester more, not only to keep our footprint low, but also to reduce the sequestration capacity. So in the next slide, again, the global report on food crisis that just came out very recently suggests that achieving the goal of ending hunger by 2030, it's ever more challenging as the population facing high level of food insecurity has increased for the 4th consecutive year, nearly to reach 258. And I'm sure, again, my dear friend Valerie from WFP might have those numbers in more details. So climate change is definitely the big challenge ahead of us. And I think it has been the case for many years. The mistake that we did is definitely that we have emphasized a lot mitigation, but we haven't invested enough in adaptation, and particularly adaptation for agriculture sector. So climate change has already caused widespread impact and related losses and damages on human systems and have altered terrestrial, freshwater, and ocean ecosystem worldwide. Physical water availability includes balance of water availability from various sources, including groundwater, water quality, and demand for water. And as we developed the strategy, water scarcity came as a priority, not only in the region where you would think it will be like the Middle East and North Africa, but also in most of the continent. The slide here shows really, particularly for Africa, that has a huge potential in terms of increasing productivity and in terms of also producing really both quantity and quality of food, but it suffers from very low productivity right now. We know already that the 3/4 of the growth in Africa agriculture output so far over the last century has come mostly from land expansions rather than from intensification or increase of productivity, a trend that is neither environmental nor sustainable. And that's where really there is a huge potential for science, technology, and innovation to come in, scaling up of innovation to increase productivity in Africa. That includes the inputs, but includes also the component on reducing food waste and loss and other components. So climate change means that we have to redouble our efforts to provide Africans farmers and actors across the food system with better information, better innovation, risk reducing, and productivity enhancing the changes that is driven by investment and science and technology and innovation. So the focus on Africa could be really a game changer going forward. And that brings me really to our strategic framework at FAO. And I'm sure, again, maybe Maximo have shown some of these slides. The strategy of FAO for the next 10 years, it's really to focus on the transformation of the agri-food system towards better production, better nutrition, better environment, and better life, leaving no one behind. And these four betters for us are really a way to do the transformation. It's like a target or an ambition in our transformation towards more inclusiveness, more sustainability, more resilience, and particularly more efficiency in the agri-food system. So to support the strategy, we have really put in place a science and innovation strategy. And before I go in the science and innovation strategy, what we, in our strategic framework, the four better provide countries with sovereignty to decide where they want to land, where they want to invest more. Is it in the better production, which is a given for Africa? Is it better environment, which is the case of the European continent, or others, or 20-25% each? But in all of them, science is needed. So we have accelerators, which is innovation, technology, and data, and complement. But we have also that the science is needed to support all of these accelerators and these four better programs. And that's where we put in place a strategy. And the strategy has been really a journey to discuss with member states to come up really with a strategy that fits the purpose and that gives flexibility for different countries. What I want to say here that the strategy is mostly to harness science, technology, and innovation at the country level for our member states to put in place the transformation of the agri-food system. It covers all sectors, all disciplines, and it really focuses mostly on innovation with its large definition of innovation on the technological side, of course, which is super important, but also innovation on the social, policy, financial, and institutional side as well. And within that, talking about really where technology is and what should be emphasis and where do we see some hope to really increase, as we said, producing the quantity, but also the quality needed. So producing more and producing better. One of them is definitely the gene editing technology that include CRISPR technology, which represent a recent advancement in genetic and in application to plant. As you know, we developed the paper on gene editing to clarify a little bit the potential of this technology in terms of diversifying also our food basket. So the gene editing as a technology might allow us to finally really stop focusing only on the staple crops, but also breed other species as needed by the local ecosystem. The fonio, maybe the manioc, the teff, and the millets, the sorghum of that are quite very important local species in many parts of the world. And of course, other biotechnological uh, advancements from artificial insemination to biofertilizer to high-tech ones that involve DNA-based methodologies. The omics technologies have really seen a huge development in the past years. Gene editing is one of them, but there are many of them around proteomic and around understanding the different pathways in food and also in human consumption of food. On the paper per se, that was issued by FAO in December. The paper clarifies the different methodologies of gene editing, and the paper brought together about 9 scientists from different disciplines, from the tech, but also from the legal side and the ethical component, and showcased that that really there are three mostly methodologies, and what's the risk and what do we know about those methodologies. And for us as FAO, the idea was really to initiate a science communication around controversial issues. So we wanted to tackle one of them, and we started with the gene editing, new technology that could really reduce the cost of breeding at large, both in plant animals or in other microorganisms. So, and it was really showcasing how FAO could be a platform where scientists could really discuss, but come up with a common paper to clarify what the technology is and what's the potential of that technology, particularly for SDG 2. Moving forward to other new food sources and food production system that are increasingly being explored with the goal of achieving improved environmental sustainability and nutritional benefit. Farming of edible insects for both human food and animal feed has gained considerable interest globally, owing to numerous potential nutritional, environmental, and economic benefits. Likewise, production of seaweed or macroalgae is also rising globally, especially offshore in integrated operations that combine both seaweed production with other aquaculture activities such as farmed shellfish. We have also the subject of cell-based food production, which is the field of growing animal agriculture product directly from cell culture that has been explored as an alleged sustainable alternative to conventional livestock agriculture system. And within that, I'm going to be in Singapore next week, and I would want to try really that they have both fish and they have also a meat cell culture product in the market. But also we are preparing another paper internally in FAO to look at really animal source food and animal source food alternative, and having really a clarity, what does it mean? Is it only protein or is it more? And the idea is really to explain what's in a piece of animal source food, and how the alternative are maybe covering some of it, but maybe not others. So it's much more a comparison paper to showcase the importance of nutrition when we talk about all sorts of food, particularly animal source food.
You have 1 minute left, Ismahane.
Oh, okay. So maybe I will speed up. So the other areas of frontier side is definitely in the microbiomes and in soil, and that goes really to look at the synergies in soil with the food agriculture. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time to cover also the area of carbon credit in agriculture, and lately also the nature positive carbon credit or biodiversity supporting carbon credit that has been discussed in COP27, and it is under development as a separate program with the GEF, led by France and Conservative Nature. Also data in terms of ocean carbon and more information there. One of the frontier science that really will make a huge difference is really everything around digitalization, from artificial intelligence and machine learning to ecological modeling, to the use really of big data and providing the information at the farmer level. So there is the most important here is ASIO for us as a new outlook that try to clarify.
Can you wrap up in 30 seconds, Ismahane?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Let me then.
Yes.
So in the grand scheme of things, Osman, what we need more investment in science and technology. That's a given, particularly in the low and middle income countries. And I think that large investment in frontier science could help us to move forward toward a better production and a more food secure and nutrition secure. I think science can help provide also clarifying those contentious issues to move the technology into application and scalability. And definitely science is very needed to really support policy, because without the right policies, we can move forward and we could really hamper international development. Over to you, Osman.
Thank you very much, Ismahane.